Going on, Neil? Good morning. Hey, Neil, think you might be having some technical difficulties, man. I can't hear you.
Hey, what's up? Can you hear me now, man?
There we go. Now we can
Sorry,
hear you.
man. Had
The
the
beauty
mute
of doing
on.
live shows, dude.
Had the mute
This is
on.
always the fun part of it.
Had the mute on, bro.
Had them
Listen,
muted. You look so
th-
enthusiastic too. I was like,
listen.
man, he is probably dropping some heat,
Oh, it
and
was
now we
heat. Of
can't
course it
hear
was
him.
heat. Of
Just
course it was heat. Of course it was heat.
always heat. Yeah, it's
Listen,
always
this
heat.
listen, I'm your host Neil, who was clearly on mute. I have Brian here with me. This is the week 8 Start Sit Advice live stream. We do every single Sunday, starting at 11:30. Well, 11:31 for me since I was on mute. This is we got Thursday to talk about. We got bingo lineups, we got challenges, we got in-league betting to discuss. We got all kinds of stuff going on here, man. We got a lot to talk about.
It's a big week for Rival Fantasy, and a big week for NFL as well.
Yeah.
It's good
Yeah,
times.
absolutely. Yes, absolutely. I already see people in the chat, so that's good to see.
Love that.
Yeah,
Welcome
that's
in,
awesome.
people.
We will get to your questions. We see you guys. Just let us get settled in here. Clearly, I was on mute, so I gotta get things dialed in.
Still get warm. Still get warm. You know.
Yeah, and we also will look at injuries. We'll see if there's any injuries that pop up here last minute or anything like that. Again, for those who are first time watching, this is Rival Fantasy. We're brought by the Rival Fantasy app. If you're not familiar with it, it's right here. This is the app. You can go on there, subscribe, sign up, create an account if you want to. We have season long leagues, we have challenges, we have bingo, we have all kinds of stuff going on over there. You can sign up if you use the link. Actually, it should be in the description. Use the link in the description, sign up. You'll get a up to $200 deposit match plus $25 free voucher when you use that link. That way, give a little when you sign up there. So
Play with
have
some
some.
house money. Play with a
Yeah,
little house
exactly,
money. You know?
exactly. And we have all different kinds of games on here. We're doing our best to be the one stop fantasy platform for people. So we're excited about everything we're building over there. So definitely go check it out. And of course, also subscribe to this YouTube channel. We do this, for you guys. We love answering your questions each week. We love, chopping it up with you guys, seeing how your teams are doing. And so, of course, all we ask in return is if you could subscribe, like the video, that kind of stuff. Normally, we jump into the recap for Thursday. Do you want to answer these questions while these chatters are sitting
Let's
here, or
answer
would you rather?
questions while they're hot, man.
Yeah,
Let's get
let's
the
take.
people there some help.
Yeah, let's do
Start
that.
there.
So we got Jordan here. I don't want to say your last name, man, because I don't want to mess it up. But he's asking Collins or Myers PPR.
I like this question. Remember when the Raiders play? They play tomorrow night, right?
Yes.
Against the Lions versus, or you have the Texans playing the 0-6 Panthers. That's tough. I'm probably going to go Jacoby just based on probably volume and how that game should go, assuming the Lions don't do what they did against the Bears last week.
Yeah. And the interesting caveat here for Jordan or anyone watching is I'm a Raiders fan. You're a Texans fan. So this is our wide receivers that, we got to choose from here. I'm curious. Why are you choosing Myers over Collins?
One PPR.
Okay.
I think Jacoby is a better PPR option. And then two, I think that on paper, that game should be a little more back and forth.
Yeah.
Especially with Jimmy G playing instead of Brian Hoyer. And the Panthers may surprise people coming out of their bye week, but I think they could get boat raced by the Texans pretty fast. So I don't know if Nico's going to even need to be involved.
Yeah. What do you think about Tank Dell? Like, are you thinking he's gonna start getting some more?
Yeah, especially Robert Woods is out, and I know for fantasy players that's not a big deal because we're not really using Robert Woods. But if he's gone, then that means it's the Nico Collins, Tank Dell show, and also probably Dalton Schultz is going to get a lot of looks in the red zone. So, I think Tank's a really good option this week as well.
Yeah, I'm with you. And I mean, when you look at, just, from a fantasy production standpoint, like Myers, especially in PPR, has had like 21, 17, 18. Like, and when you have a player scoring like that, until they stop, you don't stop. Like, that's just the way it goes. I mean, like, Collins has been great. We both love Collins.
Yeah, love
Nico. I mean, to me, he's a top 20 wide receiver in fantasy. So if you can get both into your lineup, great. But if you have to choose between them, he's a little more like, risk reward type of thing. Like, he'll go off for 36 and then have the 7. So it's kind of like, you get these explosive games and then they kind of come back down to earth, where Myers, you feel like, consistently has gotten you that, double digit points each week. So yeah, we both agree here, Jordan. Myers this week, you got him on a Monday night. Maybe if you're down by a couple of points, you feel good, with Myers, starting also. Yeah. So that's always fun. So thank you for the question, Jordan. Thank you for watching as well. We really appreciate it. And keep dropping them, man. If you have more questions, keep dropping them. Stay here. Don't just dip out. Henry Johnson, pick one for flex. Bourne, Ford, Palmer, Osborne, Foreman, DeMarcado, full PPR.
Man,
hit us with a bunch of them there, man.
Yeah, he just threw his entire bench at us. Thanks, Henry.
And really quick, Jordan said thank you. No problem,
You
Jordan.
bet, man. Happy to help. So I think I saw something about it's Jalen Ramsey's playing for the Dolphins today. He's making his season debut, so I'm probably going to stay away from Kendrick Bourne.
Okay.
I think Josh Palmer is a true game time decision. So I would probably lean on the side of him not playing. So I'm going to eliminate Bourne and Palmer. I think I'm going to go KJ Osborne. He's got we know what his role is. He's been getting plenty of targets. He's no Jordan Addison, but KJ Osborne's pretty solid, especially in full PPR. So I think I'm going to go with KJ out of these guys.
Yeah. Also, staying along the players who are, have situations here. Ford is also a game time decision.
Yeah.
I'm not sure if Roschon Johnson is he a game time decision too?
I haven't heard anything about Roschon.
I think he's playing. If he's
I
playing,
think he's going to play, which does diminish a little
Foreman,
bit of Donta Foreman.
Yeah. So that's kind of what separates me there, because I would say Foreman if Johnson was out still with the concussion. I really like him. So I would say for sure I would start Johnson. But in a situation like this where he's not, when Johnson is playing, I don't want to. The Bears have been kind of all year we don't know who's the guy, who they're giving all the work to. Are they splitting it down the middle? So it's kind of like everywhere. So I understand with you, like in terms of Osborne being like the most settled in guy here, right? Yeah. Like Bourne is going to play, but like you said, the Ramsey thing, I'm sure Ramsey's can't wait to get out there and display what he hasn't been doing all year. So yeah, again, this is a situation where you have a lot of injured players, a lot of game time decisions. I don't like to mess with that kind of stuff. Yeah. So I would go Osborne as the safe route, right?
Take the sure thing. And look, you can never predict another injury, right? So KJ Osborne could get hurt on the first play, right?
Sure.
But we know he's healthy going into the game, and that's how I am risk averse when it comes to injuries in my lineup.
Yeah.
So I agree with you 100%.
Yeah. And I mean, Bourne is close to me. I mean, again, just the Ramsey thing, kind of like, is he going to follow him? Is he going to kind of be a problem for him? And I don't know. Is Mac Jones going to keep playing well? Is it a 1 week thing? We'll see. But KJ Osborne's an offense that I love. So you just feel better there. Yeah. All right. Dylan Fink. Got to pick one full flex PPR. Hollywood versus Baltimore. Mixon versus San Francisco. Downs versus New Orleans. Hunt versus Seattle. Or Michael Thomas versus Indy. I'm already taking Hunt and Thomas out. So I'm thinking Hollywood, Mixon, or Downs. That's the first, way to limit it down here. Do you have one that automatically stands out to you right out the gate, or
it's tough because of San Fran's defense, but I still think I'm going to go Mixon.
Okay.
I just think that I think the Bengals are going to figure it out, and the Niners, they've shown there's some chinks in the armor, so they're not completely impenetrable at this point. So I think Mixon has a better game than people expect. I think Downs is going to get shut down by the New Orleans secondary, so I'm not super hyped on him this week. So yeah, I think I'm going to go with Joe Mixon and kind of bite my nails on that one. But
yeah, it does definitely come down to the matchups here. These are all tough matchups because Baltimore is a good defense, San Francisco's a good defense, New Orleans is a good defense. Like I said, I already took Hunt and Michael Thomas out of the equation. So yeah, I mean, this comes down to, how much are you willing to risk? Are you looking for a lot of points? Are you looking just for a steady, I'm not risking it big time, like, because Mixon feels kind of safe, but Mixon also feels like the upside is limited, right? Like he hasn't had a huge game this year at all, really. Like,
which is why this might be the one that nobody expects him to do it. Like, that's when Joe Mixon shows up. So
yeah, it could be. So yeah, if you're looking for like, just a consistent game where you get your safe points, then yeah, I think that's great. I don't think I like Marquise either. I think if I wanted to like risk it all, I would go Downs. But like you
Yeah.
said, that New Orleans defense is tough. But I still, if I was going to risk it all, like I'm going, hey man, I got beat up on Thursday night. I'm really looking for a guy. I have a lot of safe players. I'm looking for a guy who could give me a lot of upside. Then I'm going Downs. If
Yep.
I'm just
I
looking
agree
to
with
stay
that.
safe, keep it calm. I'll go Mixon. Know that I'm probably not going to get a ton of points, but at least I'm not going to get a 0 laid on
But
me.
you're gonna get 10 to 15 points from
Yeah.
Joe Mixon, and I think that's a pretty safe floor, especially
Yeah.
in full PPR. I
Yeah.
think so.
No, I agree. He also said was going to roll Mixon for safe volume, but struggling with Cook, Diggs, not getting projections. I like Downs, St. Bad for slot. Michael Thomas maybe for touchdown outside of Saints getting red zone. Others got bad matchups. Yeah. So a lot of the stuff that we said here. But yeah, Dylan, we both agree. Mixon, if you're trying to be safe, I do like Downs if you want to get crazy.
Yeah,
That's
go
right.
for
That's
the
right. I like to get crazy sometimes. I like to
Yeah.
risk it all, man. He also said uglier question. Got to start one running back, full PPR. Roshan Ford if he plays Singletary or DeMarcado. We talked about some of these guys kind of another
Yeah.
question, but what are you thinking?
I think Ford, if he plays, is the move, and then I would say DeMarcado is my second option. We don't know if Roshan is like expected to play, but we don't know how much they're going to use him. Singletary, even if that's a split backfield in Houston, it's we don't know if Singletary is going to get the goal line work, if he's just going to be the between the 20s guy, if they are splitting. So
Yeah.
I think Ford has been pushing to play all week. It sounds like he's much healthier than people initially thought he would be. And DeMarcado, like we've seen the Cardinals kind of go back and forth. Jonathan Gannon likes to kind of, play the surprise every week, and we don't know who's who. But yeah, I would go Ford if he's healthy, and then DeMarcado is my second option.
Yeah. I mean, what do we know? Let me check really quick what time some of these teams play. I know Ford plays at 4. Do we know what time?
The
in case he can
Browns
bail?
also play at 4:05. So the Browns game starts 20 minutes before the Cardinals game does.
Okay. So yeah,
So you'll
you
know.
have the you had that chance to switch off. So yeah, Ford did look good supposedly. I mean, he looked fine playing, practice.
He was cutting in practice.
Yeah.
He was limited, but not injury limited most of the week. So I think if he plays, that's where I go.
Yeah, I agree. I mean, he's been the most productive this year. He's been the most consistent this year. As soon as his number was called, he played well. So I'm good with Ford. Singletary is starting to trend up. It feels like in Texas, but I don't want to. I'm not going to say go there. Over Ford if he plays.
Exactly.
And then Roshan, like I said, I like him. I think he has the upside for sure. That he has a pretty good matchup. But again, game time decision, or even if he does play, I want to see how they use Foreman and him first because I mean Foreman played crazy good. And so
when D'Onta Foreman gets the ball in his hand, he's always been the best runner on the field. But that doesn't mean this Bears team knows how to use him or they're going to stay there. Yeah. We don't know what this Bears team is really doing right now.
Yeah.
So,
and plus, let's be honest, they were playing the Raiders. It was a weird, weird game.
It was a weird game.
We don't know if things are gonna play out
Tyson
that way.
Bagent season, anybody? Yeah. Like here we are.
Yeah, I don't want to get trapped into that. Like I feel like it was the Raiders. You know what I mean? So we'll see. But that's where we're at with that, Dylan. He also said, what we got here? She said Thomas officially active too. Okay, cool. Cole Parr says, is Jamar Gibbs a must start this week?
Yep.
Yes, he is.
Yes, he
especially
is.
Against them Raiders. Did you see Foreman last week, my friend?
Yeah. And then you add in Jahmyr Gibbs' ability to also catch the ball. I mean, it's a nice matchup for Mr. Gibbs.
Yeah, and I'm a Raiders fan, Cole. So saying this, it hurts my soul, honestly. But yeah, Gibbs is, top 10 for sure this week, probably higher than that, honestly. So yeah, that's one of those guys who you're excited going into Monday. Like, can't wait to see what this does.
Yeah.
Him, Laporta, St. Brown, all of them, man. Like,
I started Sam Laporta over Dalton Kincaid, so I can only hope that works out in my favor.
Yeah,
that 17 points sitting on the bench is
hard to beat. That's hard, especially at tight end. Ouch.
Yeah, it's tough.
Jordan is back here with another question. He said for DSTs, Browns at Seattle or Dolphins versus New England.
Ooh, that's a good one. Honestly, I think I'll go with the Dolphins with Ramsey back. I think New England has figured some stuff out, and I know the Browns have a great defense. Like this is not me foo-fooing them. I just think Seattle's a better offense than New England. So I think you're probably going to get more points out of the Dolphins this week.
Yeah. Yeah, this is a tough question, right? Like, I mean, and this has kind of been up and down, these defenses, but Browns, like you said, have been consistent. And they're a defense that I was kind of like doubting. Like, was this legit? Was this, just a flash in the pan kind of thing? And they've kind of proved it. I feel like the Browns are probably like the safer bet. But again, the Dolphins versus New England, like,
I mean, there's a world where the Dolphins could get you 20 points if they sack Mac, 5 times and get 2 INTs, but the Browns are probably the better floor.
Yeah. I would say they played the Patriots earlier this season. They got, I want to say less than 10 points, but I mean, even that's productive from a defensive standpoint for you at least. Exactly. So you're not losing points. So yeah, I mean, they're a safe floor as well. We don't know what, the Browns are going to do against Seattle, but if history shows, I think you're fine either way, but the Dolphins already this year have done almost 10 points, I think, against
and they Patriots. Are playing. The Dolphins are playing at home now.
Yeah.
So I know the Seahawks are as well. Yeah. But the Dolphins went in they already played the Patriots on the road, so they get to come back home and play the same team. So again, that's a little narrative-y, but it does. But it's something to help with the decision.
No, I like it. Yeah, I'm going Dolphins with you too. Cole Parr said I'm in a guillotine league, and my last week was a tough week for me, so I need a big week. It's out of K. Walker, Mostert, Gibbs, and Pollard. Ouch, man, that's crazy.
That's a great,
great
running back room he's got. Yeah, I mean, wow, okay, like shockingly, I think out of those, I'm benching Pollard. But if you're picking like just one out of, I don't think you're picking just one of those.
You trust Walker against the Browns D?
I do trust Kenneth Walker. Yeah, I trust Kenneth Walker pretty much. To me, I think he's like top 3 fantasy running back right now. Like,
so matchup proof.
I don't know who I think he's matchup proof. I don't know who or how you can justify benching him unless you have like, I don't know, Derrick Henry and Christian McCaffrey. Like those might be the only ones I would bench him for. But yeah, I think out of these guys, I am probably going to bench Pollard.
Man, but Pollard has such a good upside with the passing.
I know, and he's got the pop every week, but Pollard and Gibbs are kind of the same.
What about Mostert?
Mostert's also a little banged up, so you do have to keep an eye on that. I haven't heard anything. It sounds like he and Tyreek are both full go, even though they were on the injury report on Thursday. But yeah, man, that's tough.
He said he has Swift. Okay. He's definitely starting. Where are all these running backs coming from?
Man, do you have wide receivers on your team, Cole? It sounds like you just have just running backs. No, that's good problem to have. But yeah, I think if you're only starting 2, so if you're starting Swift, then for Pop, I would probably go Gibbs. I'd go Gibbs or Kenneth Walker out of those 4.
That's an awesome group of running backs, man.
Yeah,
can't really go wrong, honestly.
Flip a coin 4 times and you'll be fine.
Yeah, because those are all great, pretty great matchups, honestly, too. Yeah. So it's not even like there's an easy matchup that you can go, this one's terrible. Take him out of the equation. Those are all great matchups too. So hopefully you win, man. You got a lot of great players at running back. I don't know what the rest of your team looks like, but sounds like you got some exciting stuff going there.
Yeah.
All right, cool. All right, so those are the questions that we have right now. He said it's crazy. I'm one of 5 teams left in the wide receiver wasteland out there.
Yeah, yeah, guillotine leagues with. I'm sure everyone's just absorbing all the other wide receivers, and that's tough, man. That's tough.
Yeah, for sure. But, good luck to you, man.
Yeah, we hope that's a good problem to have, though. I think you'll be okay.
Yeah, and come back next week. Let us know how you did. Yeah. Hopefully we hear positive news from you.
So just to recap, I think it's Kenneth Walker, Gibbs, Pollard, Mostert. Just to put it, if we're ranking them, and the only reason Mostert's at the bottom is because he was a little banged up this week.
Yeah,
but then I'm probably going to eat my words, and he's going to go off for like 3 touchdowns today. So that's what always happens.
Again, with that group, I mean. Like, can you blame, picking the wrong guy? That's crazy. That's a crazy group to choose from. Yeah, all right. That looks like that's all the questions we have right now. I want to jump really quick to the recap that we didn't get to do earlier because of all the questions that we had. Yeah. For Thursday night, for those who already played players for the Bills or the Buccaneers, let's see. Let's talk about it really quick. Let's just look at the numbers and just see what makes sense here. Allen played really well. Josh Allen. 324 yards, 2 touchdowns. He did have an interception, but he ran for 40-something yards. He had a rushing touchdown. So great game out of him. On the flip side, Mayfield had 237 yards, 2 touchdowns. He didn't throw any interceptions. So pretty good game. So if you started one of the quarterbacks, you felt, you came out solid. Yeah. If we look at the running backs, Cook had 67 yards, rushing, one receiving for 6 yards.
Man, the Bills gotta stop with this James Cook slander. This is just getting out of hand. James Cook is such a good running back, and the disrespect that the Bills keep showing him is just absurd. I don't get it. I understand people are like, oh, he's tinier and, he shouldn't have all the goal line work, but neither should the corpse of Latavius Murray. Like, let's stop letting these 45-year-old running backs have the goal line work. I don't know what's going on in the Buffalo backfield. But
crazy.
This is coming from a bitter James Cook manager who started him and is now struggling with other lineup decisions.
Yeah, that's what it seems like. It seems like you're taking this a little personal.
It's a little bit. I'm taking it personally because I know Sean McDermott came after my lineup in particular.
Also, last week we did that $25 Rival Fantasy giveaway. The people who won, I didn't see the DM. I didn't see any DM. There was no emails that came through my email. So we still have those. So please, send us a DM if you're watching. Send us a DM or send us an email if you're watching. And then also we can do another giveaway today. So if you're watching right now, we can go ahead and do another giveaway. Again, all you have to do is sign up at Rival Fantasy so that you can actually get the funds into your account. But we'll go ahead and we'll give away $25 again in Rival Fantasy money. I'm going to go ahead and set up the giveaway now. So this way you guys can start doing that. And then we'll see at the end of the stream where we're at. Let me see here. We'll do Rival Fantasy again. All right. So what you'll need to do is in the chat, if you're watching right now, the same way you're dropping questions in there or commenting on your team, that kind of stuff, just drop hashtag Rival Fantasy right in the comments and it'll automatically push you into the drawing. So once you do that at the end of the show, we can go ahead and pull names and whoever wins that will get $25 put into their account directly on Rival Fantasy. Again, you don't need to do nothing. You don't need to pay for nothing. There's no catch here. We're just giving this to you because we appreciate you guys for watching, for participating in the show, for doing those kind of things. So again, all you have to do is put hashtag Rival Fantasy into the comments and you'll automatically be entered into the drawing. I can actually show you really quick what I'm talking about. If you go right here, this is our tool that we'll be using. So if you guys drop that hashtag Rival Fantasy, we'll see it here in the entries category that you guys are, participating, and then we'll draw it at the end. Winner gets $25 put straight into their Rival Fantasy account. This way, we're giving back a little bit to you guys. So we appreciate you guys for sure, and we want to make sure we give back. And again, if you're asking, what's Rival Fantasy? I'm just here for some advice. I don't even know what Rival Fantasy is. This is what Rival Fantasy is. Again, rivalfantasy.com, or you can actually download the app. There's an app for your smartphone, and you can go on there. You can do things like this, challenges. For instance, what we see in front of us, Lamar Jackson, Jalen Hurts. Someone put $6 on Jalen Hurts. I mean, this is an interesting one straight out the gate, honestly.
Yeah, that's a good one.
Yeah, that's a good one.
Stuff.
There's actually lots of good quarterback ones that I've seen popping up this week. Again, you just skip the challenge. If you don't like it, you'll get more challenges. You could be the first to put, money on a side, or you could just, say I don't like this one either, and just keep skipping. Christian McCaffrey versus Jalen Hurts, another interesting one. Running back versus quarterback. So there's this all kind of challenges are available on there. So you could do that. We'll also do a bingo card. We could do one right now if you want, but basically, let's go ahead and just do this really quick. You create a roster on here, so we'll throw a roster together really quick for you guys to see. We will go Patrick Mahomes at quarterback. You have a running back in mind?
I like give me a little Pacheco today.
Let's go Pacheco. Okay. And then we'll pick another one. Let's go Gibbs, since we talked him up a lot already.
Talked him up.
Wide receiver. Give me a wide receiver.
Oh man. Go back to the well of AJ Brown. He's
AJ Brown. Can't go wrong.
Crushing it.
Can't go wrong there.
Can't go wrong.
Let's get us another one. Let's go with Tyreek Hill versus New England. I'll take it.
Baby.
Tight end. The trickiest position in fantasy.
I'm gonna do it. I'm gonna go Jonnu Smith, man. Go Jonnu.
He's
gonna be like Wade.
Say Dalton.
Nah, I almost said Dalton, but Jonnu's just been. Where is Jonnu?
Let me just.
I'm just getting all the way down in the.
There he is.
There we go.
All right, let's throw a kicker on here.
I think we gotta go Young Wei Koo, dude. He's our weekly pick.
Let's get our magic from Koo. And then a flex player.
Put our money where our mouth is. Let's go with KJ Osborne.
All right, let's do KJ.
Still a little KJ.
Osborne. That's not enough. Let's do another one.
There we go.
All right. I'll use my bonus money.
Bonus money,
folks. You can use your bonus money on bingo cards. You buy the card. Once you buy the card, you'll see it appear here. This is the achievements that you're trying to hit. This is your lineup you're trying to hit them with. And then as the games are going, after the end, you'll see it in the game log, which players hit what. If you won, you'll get something like this. I'm a winner, man. I won. I won over $200. I won over $200 here.
That's better than I don't think I have won a fantasy bingo in NFL.
No,
this year.
Oh man, you're not picking the right lineups, man.
Obviously not, man. I'm a much better fantasy MLB bingo player than I am NFL.
So yeah, this is really fun. Like I said, in the game log, we'll show you what players hit what. Again, I spent $1 and got 200 on this card, so you can't lose. It's a lot of fun. Again, that is fantasy bingo.
Yeah, baby.
All right, guys. We do have another question here. Let's answer it from Nathan. Nathan said, "Hi, hello, Nathan. Start T Hill, Standard League, or pick up Waller." A tight end question. We don't get a lot of tight end questions, honestly. I would like more tight end questions. So it's either Taysom Hill, or Waller.
For a second, I thought it was Tyreek Hill or Waller.
Well, I'm hoping it's not Tyreek Hill. I guess it could be, but I would never question that.
Yeah, no. If it's Tyreek, start Tyreek. No, I think in a standard league, I understand why you'd consider Taysom. But I would still.
Yeah, do you think it is Tyreek? We need Nathan to verify.
Yeah, if Nathan wants to hop back in the chat, that would be helpful. But no, I would if it's Taysom Hill versus Waller. I guess it depends on what you're looking for. If you need like big potential upside, then go Taysom Hill. But also, yeah, because I just don't know if Waller's going to get into the end zone.
The thing is, Waller's also questionable.
Yeah, so maybe go Taysom Hill. Just play around with it. I mean, the way the Saints have been playing, it's been tough
Hill's
to
also
watch.
Questionable.
What?
Hill's also questionable.
I mean, everybody's questionable.
Yeah.
So
let me see the matchup times.
So I haven't seen anything as far as either of these guys being out.
They both play at 1:00 too, so you got to.
Okay, so Waller is active. As of 15 minutes ago, he's active.
Okay.
So I think I might go Waller just because. I mean, Taysom Hill. There are going to be weeks where he goes off and has his 5 catches for 50 yards and he rushes a bunch and he does all that. But then there's also a world where Taysom Hill gets like 2 touches all game.
Yeah.
So he's the definition of feast or famine. So that's how I look at it. I would go with Waller because if he is active now, it's a hamstring. So you also have to understand the re-aggravation rate is high. It always is with hamstrings, and Darren Waller is a walking injury.
Yeah.
Yeah. I don't know, man. Where are you going? What are you thinking?
I'm going Waller.
Okay.
Just the upside, what he's capable of. I mean, he really, went off last week. He's always going to be kind of questionable and hurt. I mean, this is kind of his thing, unfortunately. Yeah. Hill is just too inconsistent for me. I mean, he has had 2 good weeks back to back now. So, I mean, it's not to discount Hill. He has had 2 good weeks. I just, if they're both playing, for me, Waller is the better player. Yeah. So I'm just going to go that route.
And one other piece is Juwan Johnson is back now. He missed 3 weeks. So he's apparently active today. So that could eat into Taysom Hill's workload from the tight end position. So yeah, I think Waller's probably the safer bet.
Yeah.
If you could pick up Waller in this league anyway, you should pick him up. Like Waller should not be dropped anywhere.
Yeah.
So pick him up for sure.
Johnson being back is super significant too, because going into the year, that is kind of who they had a lot of their high hopes on. So
yeah. It also makes you wonder if they're going to play a lot more like 12 personnel, if that's going to open up running lanes because Juwan Johnson is a better blocker too. So at least in my opinion, he's a better blocker. I don't know what the stats are on that, but it'll be interesting to see. So
yeah, no, I definitely agree with you on that. All right. I don't think we have any other questions or comments. So let's go back really quick. We were talking about the Thursday game. We got done with Cook. I thought it was interesting. White for the Buccaneers on the other side, the other running back. On the other side, only had 39 rushing yards, but he had 7 receptions for 70 yards.
Yeah.
So I thought that was interesting. I mean, he didn't get a touchdown on passing or rushing, but still that was a significant amount of receptions for him.
Yeah,
running back.
It is.
I mean, running back. And then at wide receiver, I mean, Gabe Davis went off 87 yards on 9 receptions for a touchdown. I like that the Bucks, both guys scored a touchdown. Godwin and Evans. They didn't have a lot of like yards necessarily or a lot of receptions, but they both got touchdowns, which was good to see. It's funny because I think, a lot of people had questions going into the year, like, can Baker Mayfield really, keep this offense going? Can he feed both guys? Can he, make a productive fantasy offense, for instance? Right. And he's done pretty well at it, man. Like, he's really limited the mistakes. And sure, sometimes it's one guy or the other, but I mean, that's going to happen, right? But I think he's done better than most expected. You know what I mean?
Yeah, I mean, Baker is a gamer. He will show up and he's going to try to, when he has a chip on his shoulder, that's when Baker is Baker. And I think all the stuff last year helped him kind of realize, and also he played for the Browns, right? Like everyone who was calling for his head when he was playing for the Browns are arguably the most dysfunctional organization in the NFL. So they didn't know how to use him and it showed. And then he goes to two teams. He played for the Rams for like 3 weeks and he had 3 of his best statistical games last year.
Yeah.
Right. So Baker's a dog and he's always going to find a way to prove the haters wrong. So it's nice to see him performing with the Bucs and keeping them competitive in that division.
Yeah.
So
yeah, absolutely. We do have 2 more questions in here. Jordan said, would you drop Hopkins for Dell? That's an interesting question. I mean, Hopkins, it really depends. I mean, right? Like Hopkins has played okay, but again, you're in a situation now they lost Tannehill. Yeah. So now you're like, how much do I really think Malik Willis or Levis are going to get Hopkins involved? It sucks because I love Hopkins, like as a player, what he's done throughout his career. So it like sucks to be like, yeah, drop him for this rookie. You know what I mean? Like in Houston.
I mean, look, here, I think the deciding factor for this is, are you going to start DeAndre Hopkins? Because I don't know if anyone can trust him at this point in their lineup, unless you're in a 14, 16 team league, you're desperate for a plug and play. I would drop him for Tank Dell. I would do it. Hopkins is not helping your team right now. And I would rather deal with the repercussion. Let's say Hopkins does, Will Levis takes Hopkins to the next level in the Tennessee offense, because that's going to happen.
Sounds funny.
Right? Like let's say Banana Boy does what he does best and starts just hurling the rock in DeAndre Hopkins' direction. I don't think it matters. You have Derrick Henry and Tajay Spears there, and that's where the offense goes. So yeah, I would dump Hopkins for Dell because I like the Texans offense better than I like the Titans offense.
Yeah, it sounds crazy, but honestly, like I don't trust Levis or Willis or as a passer. So I'm not going to risk it. If I had to start one today, Hopkins or Dell, I'm starting Dell. And so therefore, if I have to make the move, I'm dropping Hopkins for Dell. If you're just asking from like, for the rest of the season type of thing, like, how is this going to play out? I mean, yeah, I think if you have to make the decision today, I'm doing it. That's just where I'm at.
I think so. It's go with the guy. Again, it's like we've been talking about a little bit today with the boom bust, right? You may have a safer quote unquote floor with Hopkins, but Dell is the guy who he can go out there and catch 8 for 80 and 2 touchdowns. Yeah. So give me the shiny new toy in this case.
Yeah. I mean, I know Dell's had some injuries and all this kind of stuff, but I mean, we're talking about a guy who's had 2 20-point weeks. I mean, so far this season. So we know what he's fully capable of. There's no reason to assume that, that was just a flash in the moment kind of thing. Like he's totally capable of that. Stroud loves him. He's great in the offense. So yeah, I mean, he definitely has more upside, going forward rest of season, especially in cases where Tannehill's out and all that kind of stuff. So if you're really in a jam, I'm totally good with, dropping Hopkins for Dell. Jakiko, if I'm saying that right, flex Josh Downs or Rashee Rice. Two wide receivers we're big fans of. Yeah. I already said I would start Downs this week in terms of it was a different matchup, obviously, between, who we're talking about. But so I'm not afraid to start Downs this week. And then when it comes to Rice, I mean, they're playing who are they playing?
They're playing the Broncos. Yeah, they're playing the Broncos in Denver.
Yeah. So that's a great matchup. That's a really good matchup.
Yeah. This is a tough one. I think if you're going based on defenses, I'm going to start Rice. But if you're going to go based on past performance and kind of what we've seen, I would probably go Downs. Downs is hard to sit right now. I mean, he's been very impressive so far, especially once Minshew took over. He was good with Anthony Richardson, but Minshew really likes Josh Downs. So I think I'm gonna flex Downs out of these two.
Yeah.
I think it's one or 2 more weeks before I'm comfortable starting Rashee Rice.
Yeah. No, yeah, I'm with you. I mean, also we say they're playing Denver. Like this could easily be a Pacheco game, Kelsey
Yep.
game, and these wide receivers don't
Yep.
see a lot of work.
Could
That's
be
the
an
weird
MVS
thing.
game, man. Who knows?
Yeah.
Yeah.
That's the weird thing about Mahomes is like he's like the best quarterback of football, but like when it comes to his wide receivers, you're just like, like, you know, ever since Hill
It's the
left.
Brady syndrome, right?
Yeah.
It's like for how many years it was like Brady always had one guy that he hyper targeted, whether it was Wes
Yeah.
Welker, whether it was Gronk, you know,
Right.
Randy Moss, obviously, but like everyone else, it was just a crapshoot each week, and it's the same situation for Mahomes this year. It was that way last year too. So
Yeah.
just take the certainty of Josh Downs, which again he could falter. There could be, this could be the week that he tapers off. The Saints defense is good, but
Right.
the Saints are also 3-4. So like obviously their defense isn't good enough to win them games.
Right. Absolutely. Yeah. Yeah. And it's good. I mean, you got two good wide receivers, two guys that are flex worthy in most weeks. And Rice will continue to get better as long as, Mahomes continues to just keep targeting him like he does. And also Minshew just loves Downs, man. He's targeting
loves
Downs
him.
like crazy.
He's his target share is like 25% or something crazy with Gardner Minshew.
Yeah,
So
it's crazy. But just
live it up. Live it up with Josh Downs. Enjoy the ride, man.
Yeah,
And it's
sure.
I love when these rookie wide receivers that they weren't the first round guys that weren't highly touted and they just come in and start dominating.
Yeah.
Big Josh Downs fan.
Yeah.
Love seeing it.
Good luck to you this week. Mike Norris lost last week because I forgot to switch Akers in for Mitchell after CMC played by 7 points. Akers had 7.1. That sucks.
Dude,
yeah.
That is.
Those are the breaks you get sometimes,
Yeah,
Mike.
that's a tough beat, though. It's like, how would you have known that?
Yeah.
Akers hadn't done much of anything the last few weeks, so it's hard to have. I still would have probably started Mitchell anyway, just in case CMC had re-aggravated anything. So I don't think you made the wrong move. I think it was the right thing. It just didn't work out.
Yeah. I really wish Akers would just get all the work. It's like
they've kept Madison around for so long at this point. It almost feels like they feel obligated to him.
Yeah.
To keep giving him the chance, which
that's
fine. Like I like Madison as a runner. I just think he's much more of a goal line back than he is a 3-down guy.
Yeah.
Personally. But
yeah, Mike, he said it's all a gamble at the end of the day.
Yeah,
it absolutely is, man. And he said, appreciate y'all boys, real talk. Of course. Of course. We appreciate you joining us. We appreciate you asking questions. Jump in every single week, man. And even if you don't have a question, guys, jump into the conversation. Yeah. Anything you guys put in the comments, as long as it's respectful, we're gonna probably share it on the stream. So
we'll talk movies, we'll talk other sports.
Yeah,
I mean, it doesn't help people getting ready for Sunday, but
if we're talking about players that it wasn't your question, feel free to jump in if you disagree or if you agree, whatever it is. Like we want to talk with you guys. This isn't just ask a question and run off. Like we want to continue the conversation. Mike Norris said, "How crazy am I starting Laporta at tight end and Kittle as a flex this week? I got D London, Rashee Rice, Palmer, and the 2 tight ends." Yeah, that's a tough one. That's
spicy. Yeah.
Kittle's
I don't think you're wrong starting Laporta. I think you start Laporta over Kittle.
Yeah. Oh no, for sure. It's for sure Laporta over Kittle for me. He's playing the Raiders. I just think he's gonna eat like crazy. Yeah. Kittle, though, I mean, has played well, but he's up and down. It's too inconsistent for me. It's like, good points one week, 1 the next. Good points the next week, 3 the next. Like it's just too much, waverance for me that I can't, get with it. So he does have some good options here, though. In London, Rice, we just talked about him. I mean, there's good options here. Are you a Kittle guy here at the flex, or are you one of the wide receivers?
I think I'm probably more of a Drake London guy here. Which again, like neither one's a bad option. I think like this is a really good question. I would probably go Drake London. I forgot who the Falcons are playing. I think they're playing the Titans.
Yeah.
And the Titans secondary is not scary, and the Titans do not have their starting quarterback. So, I could see the Falcons coming out early and often slinging the rock and trying to get London involved. So I think I'd go London there, and also with Kittle, this again is a little narrative-y, so just bear with me, y'all. But when Brock Purdy has concussion symptoms on the team plane, and then they clear him very quickly, that kind of sounds like what happened with Tua last year. Mm-hmm. And I don't want that to be the case, but the odds of Purdy having another concussion today feel greatly increased compared to what they could be. So even if you start Kittle, you don't know if you may get the Sam Darnold experience with George Kittle today. So I'm just going to go with Drake London.
I'm not mad at Darnold. Like I think he's going to do okay.
He's fine. It's hard when you're making the decision of Kittle based on, hey, I think Purdy is going to start, or he is going to start, but we don't know what that's going to look like, how long he's going to stay in. I'm trying to mitigate risk for everybody and but also know that risk is there, that you could be dealing with Sam Darnold as the Niners QB.
For sure. I mean, and for transparency, like I have Drake London as my not so obvious lock of the week. For anyone who's watching who's not aware, like I do these not so obvious locks of the week episode every week, where it's players who aren't ranked like in the consensus top 10. You're not seeing them in the top 10 rankings a lot, but I think have the upside to finish there. And in this week, I have Drake London there. So great matchup. I mean, he's doing great. I know it's like this underwhelming thing where it feels like he's not doing good, but he is. Like he had a bad week one, and he kind of like, struggled there. I know the team, like Ritter isn't inspiring to nobody, and it's just kind of like, they're not going to allow to talk.
He's not losing games.
Right. Right. But I mean, London has been playing pretty well, man. Out of 7 weeks, he's got like 5 of them were double digits. So it's not like he's not doing anything. Right. Yeah. So I like him. I think that he's a good play this week. It's a good matchup for him. So yeah, I would start London over Kittle. I understand that Kittle's played pretty well, but again, the inconsistency, the weird stuff going on with Purdy, it's just all a little weird for me. You already got Laporta in as tight end, so it tells you that you like that tight end over Kittle more. So yeah, I would go, Drake London.
Yeah.
Personally. And Mike is chopping it up here in the comments. He put no Debo makes me feel like he'll get over 5 targets, but I do have London in right now. He said what Brian was saying was a good call. And he said he looks great. Honestly, it's just the guy throwing in the ball. Yeah, Ritter is, Ritter is. And
I think Ritter was what, a 4 or 5 year starter at Cincinnati, right? Like he started later in his tenure there. So I think Ritter is one of those guys that, as the season progresses, as he gets more reps, he'll get better. He's just a longer project. So I think he'll get better with London, because if there's consistency in that offense, I think that the Falcons look good. You just never know what they're going to do each week. Is Bijan going to have another migraine? We don't know. Is Cordero Patterson going to be active? Is Kyle Pitts going to have a sighting? Like, we don't know. But the one thing we do know is the only wide receiver on that team worth their salt is Drake London. So
honestly, if we're being honest here, Ritter's got a little Gardner Minshew in him.
He does. He's got a chip on his shoulder. Like, he's out to prove everybody wrong.
And like his thing is like the thing holding him back a lot is the interceptions, but he does run the ball. He's got a decent amount of rushing touchdowns this year. So it's like he's kind of like that, where like, okay, yeah, he'll throw 2 interceptions during a session, but he's still kind of scrappy. Like, he may still put up a fantasy relevant game for you.
Yeah.
So yeah, that's kind of the thing. Like, again, we're loving Josh Downs a lot, and he's got Minshew. So it's like similar kind of situation. I love London, even though he's got Ritter. You know what I mean? Like, they're getting it done enough, even though they're not the most exciting or consistent or great, quarterback that you want it to be like. So that's where we're at with that, Mike. Definitely for us, Drake London over Kittle. But I can't fault you for Kittle if you go that route. Like, I get it if you feel really, you feel it in your gut. But definitely we're both going with London here, for sure. But thank you again for the question. Hopefully you do good this week. Let us know how you do next week. And appreciate this. What I'm talking about. You chop it up in the comments with us, man. You don't have to just ask the question and leave. You can talk, give us your thoughts too. Let us know where your mindset is at. What's making you, your way of thinking go that route. So we appreciate that. All right. So that's it for the questions as of right now. It's 12:15. We're getting pretty close to game time. So I understand. A lot of times we get this burst at the end also of like questions. So I never want to say the chat is done. Mike also said, to be fair, that Commander's game was just really rough. He hasn't been too bad with turnovers before that.
And Ritter he protects the ball pretty well. You've kind of seen it. He's made better decisions every week. Versus like Minshew. Minshew's lost, I think, like 5 fumbles already. It's so I think Ritter, he's like you said, Neil, he's not sexy. He's not like, you don't look at him and be like, oh my God, he's a Hall of Famer. But Ritter could be one of those guys that just sticks in the league forever, kind of like Bridgewater did, he'll be kind of like that bridge year starter for a bunch of teams, and then he'll be a backup by the time he's like in his 30s. Do the Josh McCown thing, right? Like, play, you could see that be a narrative for him.
Yeah. I mean, it's one of those things. I mean, if we think about it, like, I guess Howell's a little better, right? But he's kind of in there right now in that range where it's like,
I honestly would take Ritter over Howell, like real life. I guess that's real life football.
Right.
I think I take Howell fantasy wise, but
Right.
you know.
And he said, I'm hoping someone works out. I benched Gabe Davis and Kincaid this week. So I'm starting at over 30 points on the bench. See,
Mike, if it makes
tough.
you feel better, I benched Dalton Kincaid and I started James Cook. So I feel it, man. I feel all of the pain that you guys feel. This is, we are, one of us, right? Like we are in the same boat as you guys very often.
So. Absolutely. Also, Jakiko said Gus over Foreman today for RB2.
No, I'm going to go Foreman.
Are you?
Foreman over Gus for sure. That man runs angry, and I like guys that run angry. So even if Roshan's active, I'm playing Gus, or not. I'm playing Foreman over Gus.
Yeah, I mean, I get the question, right? Like, Gus, played really well last week against a Lions team who some people think their defense is really good. So, I mean, Gus went off. Gus went for over. If you're playing in PPR, he went for over 20. So again, one of those was off a big catch though for like 80 yards and a touchdown. So like, how much you want to put into that, that factor. But I mean,
it's a miracle that he caught the ball at all.
Yeah. So they both these guys had that thing going into it where it's like Foreman did it against the Raiders. They looked ridiculously bad. Gus did it off a big catch, but still, I mean, like I understand the question. Foreman's playing the Chargers. Gus is playing. Who's he playing again? Gus is playing. The Cardinals.
They're playing the Cardinals.
Yeah, so another.
But
easy
that
matchup.
could also lead to Gus, sitting down and a lot more Justice Hill, a lot more.
Yeah,
I don't know if Keaton Mitchell is going to be active, but they're in the Ravens love to. They'll just switch guys regardless of their performance the previous week.
Yeah, I think I'm going Foreman just because the Bears have to rely on him. Like, there's no other option. Like, they got the rookie quarterback. He's not really that good. Like, I know he looked kind of decent against the Raiders, but, like, he wasn't, like, slinging the rock everywhere. No. He was more, like, improvising, just bailing and getting the ball out just in time, and Foreman put the team on his back.
Yeah.
So,
and they have a kind of a softball matchup against the Chargers. I love the Chargers as a team. I love Justin Herbert, but that defense it's like Swiss cheese. Like, I mean, you can run through it, you can throw against them. Like, so I think Deonta Foreman could pop off again tonight.
Yeah, absolutely. Mike Norris said, "Yeah, we in the trenches. We sure are, my friend.
It's hard out here. It's hard living, guys. It's hard living."
Cole said, "As a Gabe Davis owner myself, started at home. Check his stats for a waivers home games. Yeah,
I haven't checked the splits. We're going like pitcher splits here, like road versus away. Okay.
Yeah, it's."
Cole, drop in the comments like what you see as is he more catches? Is it more targets at home? Like I'm always curious about these sorts of stats. But also Gabe Davis is just the epitome of post hype sleeper. Like, I mean, what a weird turnaround. What a weird story Gabe Davis has been the last couple of seasons.
What's funny is I love Gabe Davis, like coming out and everything. Like I was doing videos even back then. Like I was a fan of him coming out. I was really excited about him. And obviously he became like this, I don't know, like this guy that people love to like, I don't know, it feels like people love to crap on him. And I don't know if it's because he's in Buffalo and it's a crazy fan base or,
I think it was, what was it, 2 years ago in the playoffs was when he had was it a 4 touchdown game against the Chiefs?
So. He went crazy.
Right? And he went bananas. And then everyone was like, oh, the Gabe Davis season, like, they put all their stock into that one playoff game. And he didn't do that every week last year. And so people started, crapping on him because he wasn't scoring, what would that put you on pace for? Whatever 18 times 4 is, right? Like that is so many touchdowns. Like that's not going to happen.
Right.
So, and now this year, nobody talked about him. He was like a 9th, 10th round pick and he's crushing it for you. So, it's just ebbs and flows. That's the nature of the beast, especially in Buffalo, right?
Like, and Cole said, not exactly what it is. It's not the targets or anything except last week with a 12 high. Yeah, I mean, again, he's also just like in the Bills offense. Josh Allen's just quarterback. Like, I don't understand like the hate. Like, this is an explosive offense. We know they're not even using James Cook well. Like, they're not running the ball in a way that gets you excited. So, like, yeah, man. Like,
maybe it's the Mahomes syndrome where it's you don't know each week when like this week, Khalil Shakir led the Bills in receiving, right? Like he had 6 catches, I think, for 90 something yards. So they have 3 to 5 viable options in Buffalo, and I think that's part of the problem too. Is most weeks you expect it to be a Stephon Diggs week. This week it wasn't, but then it was, but it wasn't, it wasn't a typical Diggs week. And then Gabe Davis popped off, but Khalil Shakir had more yards. So you never know what you're going to get in Buffalo. And there could be a week where Josh Allen throws 4 INTs and it doesn't matter.
Yeah.
So,
yeah, no, I agree. He said if you look at his weekly score and all his games that are a boom is home and vice versa.
okay.
Yeah.
All right.
It's one of those weird situations.
Yeah, it's a good stat to keep in mind.
Yeah.
You know?
Those are the little things you got to look at. I mean, when you're playing fantasy, like there's these little differentiators, these little things that make you feel better about a certain player this week or that week. And so, yeah, no, I definitely think everything's worth looking at. Again, I'm a narrative guy, so I look at everything. And so I'm cool with, this kind of stuff.
Football is still people. There's still people out there. It can't all just be ones and zeros. You gotta keep an eye on stuff like this.
Right. Exactly. I wanted to bring back up Rival Fantasy really fast for us so we can look at this. I wanted to just show people, for those who are playing in season-long leagues on there, we did introduce in-league bet-in. So in case you're not familiar with in-league betting, because it is new for anyone, in-league betting is the opportunity to bet against your league mates. So in the matchups, in the actual season-long matchups. So here, this tracker just kind of shows you the bets that you're making. But for instance, if you look at the matchups, you can actually see here on these screens here. Actually, let me just go full screen really quick. You can actually see the dollar amounts in between these, and these are actually bets. So betting on this game's outcome. And so if you hit view bets, you'll see on this left-hand side, these people all bet for this is football to win. On the right-hand side, these people all voted for, put their money on Jump on Pluto's team to win. And so you're actually betting on the matchup, on the outcome of your fantasy matchups in season long. And you can do this in all your leagues. It's locked once, if you have a Thursday night player in the lineup, it'll lock so you can't bet, obviously, once players start scoring points. But again, it's a really fun way. You can bet as much as you want. You can see here, $1 bet versus $5 bet, however you want to, do it. It's a fun way to, bet on yourself, just because obviously you drafted your team. You're really confident with what you got going on, but also a way to get involved in with your league mates. If you, want to cheer somebody on or root against somebody, it's just another fun way to get involved. So we're really excited about it. Again, this is for those playing on fantasy leagues on Rival Fantasy. You can do this right now in your leagues. Do it. Put your bets down. I just wanted to share that because it's a really cool feature, Brian. We're really excited about it. And so I wanted to make sure I mentioned it before we ended the live stream, man.
Yeah. I mean, I don't think it gets better than that. It's the perfect way to get a little skin in the game without having to do a completely different DFS situation. You don't have to go build different lineups. You see everything right there. And plus, especially in your friends and family leagues, folks, like, there's nothing better than telling your uncle he is garbage at fantasy football and then putting your money where your mouth is, right? Or, you got that friend who got that lucky 6-1, 7-0 start. You got to bet against them every week until they lose. You got to bet against them and make them feel like they are up against the world, right?
Yeah.
There's so many different ways to play it.
Yeah, that's the common theme at Rival Fantasy, right? It's like, put your money where your mouth is. A lot of people want to talk. A lot of people want to run their mouth.
Yeah.
But you got challenges where you can create the social challenges, or to go against your friends. You're in the office, someone's debating. You can create the social challenge. Now you got the in-league bet-in. So if you got the office league going or the family league going, friends league, whatever it is, now you can also bring the competition to that spot. So it's just a lot of different fun ways to to get involved, to challenge your opponents. Be a rival. It's a great way to be a rival.
Yep. Head to head. There you go.
Exactly. Is there any last minute injuries or anything that have come in that we should talk about really fast? I'm trying to check while we're here live.
Here, so I'll run through. So just so everybody knows, I try to use a lot of different sources for our injury report. So I'm just going to pull from the ESPN one that they have right now, so you guys are aware where this is all coming. But the important ones. Luke Musgrave is active. Zach Moss is active, even though he was questionable earlier. Trevor Lawrence is active. Zay Jones is out. Raheem Mostert is active. Same with Taysom Hill. Michael Thomas. Darren Waller is active. Daniel Jones is out. So Tyrod is starting for the Giants. Curtis Samuel is playing. And Ryan Tannehill is out. So like we said, sounds like Will Levis and Malik Willis are both going to get go. Yeah. So that's another reason you should not start DeAndre Hopkins today. We don't know who's going to be throwing him the ball at what point.
So let me ask you this. I seen Ian Rappaport post that Patrick Mahomes was dealing with a flu. Does something like that bother you? Like when you're starting players, even if you're going to start Patrick Mahomes, regardless, maybe, but like say Rashee Rice, all these guys, or like, do you think that Pacheco will run the ball more because Patrick is sick? Like, when it comes down to something like that, like the flu, they got a bug, they haven't been feeling well today or this week. Like, how do you feel when you see that? Not an injury, right? It's just like they're not feeling good. How do you personally approach that?
So I look at it. I think it's a timeline thing for me. So. I mean, look, you're not going to get scared off of Patrick Mahomes. I get that. I'm not going to say he's Jordan, but like he can have a Jordan-like flu game, right? But most people can't. But that popped up yesterday or this morning. I think it was either late last night or early this morning. Versus, if a guy has a sickness, if he's not feeling well on like Tuesday, that I'm not really worried about.
Yeah.
But, to be a little graphic, if Patrick Mahomes has a stomach flu and he's, blowing out chunks on the sideline, like that's not good. You don't want that. But usually I look at it in terms of when was it announced that they're ill. But if it's a small enough thing like this, I think it's fine. But I do think that could contribute to a Pacheco game. Could be a Kelsey game, a lot of like check downs, a lot of shorter passes. So I think it impacts play style. I don't know if it necessarily impacts the player themselves, if that makes sense.
Yeah, and also it's snowing in there as well.
Yeah, there were like, I think Denver got like a foot of snow last night.
Yeah, so that game is like kind of.
It's gonna be cold. Patrick Mahomes has the flu.
This game is kind of lining up to be a mess.
Yeah, it's gonna get gritty, and I think it's gonna be a lot of ground game stuff. So I think temper expectations for Kelsey. Temporary expectations for like a Cortland Sutton. Just know that going in that it could be a little rough, tough sledding down there in Denver.
I'm excited about it. As a Raider fan, I'm excited about that game.
You just want them to beat each other up.
I want chaos. So. Oh, look, we got Josh Crocker, my boy here, said, would you move Ayuk for ETN in a dynasty, pushing for a playoff bye, but a bit of an underdog?
So Josh, that's tough because it does depend to me on the rest of your wide receiver room. Because what is Ayuk, like 25, 26, right? Like he's young. He's still a young man. And you also have to remember the shelf life. Now we're talking dynasty, right? Like this is a very different situation. Yeah. So Brandon Ayuk is 25 years old. So he hasn't even hit his prime, right? Like the wide receiver prime is usually between like 26 to 29 years old. And ETN is in his third year technically, even though it's his second because he missed his rookie year with the Liz Frank.
Yeah.
I wouldn't do that 1-to-1, I don't think. But it does depend on your roster construction, right? Like running backs are more valuable, but they got a shorter shelf life in Dynasty. So they're more valuable for a playoff run, I should say. But Ayuk over the long term, he's going to be like a cornerstone of your lineup.
So what if you just looked at it at like, what if you were looking at like the next 3 years?
Yeah, so because you're gonna, Brock Purdy is gonna be the quarterback, and he loves Ayuk. The only question is Ayuk going to sign his second contract with the Niners? Mm-hmm. Right? He was a first round pick, so they have the 5th year option, and I don't know if that's been exercised yet or not. Is he in his 4th or his 5th year? That's the real question. I don't remember off the top of my head.
Ayuk has played.
He
started in 2020. He started in 2020.
So this will be his 3rd season, 4th year. So if they pick up his option, man, I don't know, because Ayuk is also, he gets in the doghouse a lot too.
Yeah, I live so in the season. Like, listen, I can hit by a car tomorrow, man. I'm trying to win right now. So I would do it. Like I would do the trade, but I understand.
It really just depends on what his other wide receivers are. Because like if Ayuk is your wide receiver 1, I don't want to trade my wide receiver 1 who's 25 years old for ETN, who it is great. ETN is an unbelievable running back. But I don't know if that's going to help you more overall. Even just this year. That is a tough question. I am not helping at all. I
like ETN, Josh. I like ETN over Ayuk. Rest of the season. Listen, they even tried to bring all these other running backs in to try to stop ETN. They can't do it. ETN keeps, coming out on top. Yeah. I like it, man. Like I said, I understand in Dynasty, it's like, oh, it could be 10 years, that. Man, I am not thinking 10 years ahead. It's just too far for me. I'm trying to win this next couple of seasons. And for me, ETN gives me the best opportunity to do that. Again, wide receiver, I feel like is easier to replace. It's easier for me to fill that in. And so, look, I mean, you can get Rashee Rice, Josh Downs, all these kind of guys, and then I'm like, I'm fine with no Ayuk. So I can't do that at running back, and so I would do it, especially if you're trying to push for that playoff.
I think if you can move Ayuk in like a second round pick and you get like a wide receiver 3 with ETN, that's when I would do it. Like if I can find a lower tier player at the same position to plug in lieu of Ayuk, then definitely doing that trade.
Yeah. So. All right, cool. Good luck, Josh. Mike Norris, I'm starting Cam Akers right now, but with Mahomes out, he's not out though. Could Jaleel be a start this week? Maybe the Broncos get a lead and have to run the ball. I mean, it's possible. We mentioned the snow. There's a good chance that they are going to just try to run the ball a lot because that's just easier to get done. But Mahomes isn't out that I'm aware of. So Mahomes is playing.
No, he's still playing.
Yeah. He's playing. Would you start Jaleel over Cam though? Is a question. Is a legitimate question. Is he? So I mean, in this case, I don't know, man.
No, I think I would stay with Cam Akers. Just look, I like Jaleel McLaughlin. I do think he's a good player, but we are starting to see Javonte every week get more work.
Yeah.
So
Akers, he's a better matchup too. Akers. He's playing in Green Bay.
Yeah.
So he should do it.
And that's a divisional game, which
I
mean they're both divisional games actually, but I think Cam Akers is a better pick out of these two.
Stick with your original thought there, Mike. Stick with that. Dr. Clutch said he started banking last week and he lost by 1.3. He actually sent me a DM too. So he's not lying. It wasn't in just a Bears league like he had mentioned earlier. He did start him. So much respect for starting him, for having the guts to do it.
If that's how you take the L, good on you, Dr. Clutch. That is like the most admirable way to go down. That I respect that. It's stuck to your guns, and sometimes it works, sometimes it doesn't. Like we said earlier, we're in the trenches out here, so sometimes you just take it on the chin.
If I remember correctly, he also played the team he was playing against started Foreman, so that's even more painful since he's a Bears fan.
Oh man, yeah, just
that had to hurt.
Keep taking licks on that one.
Aiden Badia said, "Should I start Cousins over Mahomes because of the flu?" I knew people were gonna start questioning this, man.
Oh no,
is this a Jordan flu game for Mahomes, man? Is this a?
No, he doesn't need a Jordan flu game against the Broncos. And who are the Vikes playing this week?
They're playing the Packers.
They're playing the Packers. Yeah, that's right. We just said that. So the rub is
you got the flu. You got the hard snow.
I mean, what's if the weather
Taylor
in Green
Swift
Bay,
is not going to be at the game.
That is true.
3 strikes, you're out, man. 3 strikes, you're out. And flu, so snow, and no Taylor.
It looks like it's going to be like kind of crappy weather, but not too bad in Green Bay versus like Denver. It's cold right now, and there's a bunch of snow on the ground. So it'll be clear, obviously, but it's going to be cold. So
you're not going to dare the worst say bench idea. Mahomes. Are you going to say bench Mahomes?
No, I'm not. I'm just saying if Aiden does it, I understand why. But I'm not benching Mahomes because of the flu. I would be more inclined to bench him because of the flu plus the weather.
How about this? The Chiefs already played Denver once this season. In that game, Mahomes had 18 fantasy points in Kansas City.
Yeah.
In Kansas City. Now we throw in a flu. Now we throw in snow. Now we throw in no Taylor Swift.
And you throw in altitude.
And you throw in altitude. You got a lot of variables there to consider.
Yeah. And that's the only it's only in this specific instance that I would even sniff benching Patrick Mahomes. This is a perfect storm of things that could go down. But I mean, go down with the ship, man. Like, you start Mahomes and you because if he does go off, you're going to be like, wow, why would I ever think of benching Patrick Mahomes? I'd rather lose because Mahomes had a bad game than lose because I had Mahomes on my bench.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah, no, you go with your stud, even though they're both kind of studs.
They're both studs.
Yeah. You go with Patrick Mahomes, the best quarterback in football. You start him, and if he doesn't do good, you go, man, it was Mahomes. I'm not going to bench Mahomes for Cousins. Yeah. So, if Cousins plays well, you're like, I like that. You like that. But,
you like that.
You like that?
We all like that.
You have an opportunity to be a legend. You bench Mahomes for Cousins and you win.
Yeah, I mean that's a gutsy play if you do it. But
listen, are you playing to be a legend today, Aiden, or are you playing to get a W? It's up to you, man. Or you could be the fool.
Do you do it for the story or do you do it for the record?
Exactly.
You know, it's
Dr. Clutch said, all right, I got a question for my main league. Fields is hurt. Need a QB. Howell, Bangett, Carr, or Bryce Young. There's more quarterbacks that are available, but they're all projected lower than Young. Man, it's funny because I'm a Carr hater. He's playing the Colts.
Yeah.
Even though it's funny, the Saints fans have completely turned on him also already this quickly, 8 games into the season. But I'm not a big into Carr, so I'm not going to say Carr. I'm not going to say you already tried Bangett, right? You already did it. It didn't work.
We saw that. We've seen that TV show before.
Bryce Young is playing the Texans. Your Texans. So that's an interesting situation.
And that's also like a narrative game of Bryce Young coming out to show why he was picked over Stroud. You know, he's got something.
You got Howell versus the Eagles.
Which I think Howell is gonna because they played the Eagles very well the first time they played.
Yeah.
Howell played that second half in particular was very good.
Yeah.
So I think out of these guys, I'm going Howell.
I'm going Howell as well. He threw for almost 300 yards last time in Philly. He threw for a touchdown. He didn't throw any interceptions, so he played it safe. I know Philly's like a tough team, and their defense is pretty good, and Howell gets sacked a lot, but I still would pick him. I think that they're going to need to score points to keep up in this game if they want to win against a tough Philly team that can put up points very easily. So I would go Howell out of this group. I don't think you'll probably have a better free agent below those guys if Young is the better one there. So Howell is the guy I would go with, man. Good luck, though. Good luck. It's a tough spot. Luke, Terry, Olave, Wilson, or Nick at flex. Also, Tua or Stroud. So Tua for sure.
Yep. Tua for sure. Stroud. Is that Garrett Wilson? I'm guessing, and Nico Collins. Is that what? Who's Nick? I don't know.
Yeah.
If not Nick guess. Westbrook Akine, I hope. Don't do that. I think I'm still. You guys already know I'm going to go with Olave.
I know you are. I know you are, my man.
But
you are.
I mean, this is the week Garrett Wilson could finally, we're starting to see that every week. That's been a progression too. They're getting more comfortable. But Olave had 15 targets last week. 15 targets. Derek Carr has to be better. He cannot be as bad as he was last week. I just don't see that happen.
Yeah. And again, I know I'm knocking Carr, but if we run down Olave's targets really quick, 10, 11, 11, 6, 5, 10, 15.
I'm taking targets Olave all day.
Olave. So Olave and Tua here.
He catches 6 of those for 60, and that's 12 PPR points. You're happy.
Yeah.
So
Olave and Tua, Luke. Pancake, what's up, man? Welcome back. Olave, Pittman, Sutton, Rice, Foreman, or Henderson non-PPR against my brother this week. Really need the win. I feel you about the brother matchup. That's tough. Yeah. I know you're a big Olave fan. You're a Sutton fan. Yeah. You got all your guys.
I like Deonta Foreman this week.
You like Foreman. Non-PPR definitely matters. We just got talking about Olave and Target. So that's a big deal here. You're a Sutton guy non-PPR.
Yeah, but not in this weather.
Not in this game.
Not when it's this cold. No, look, I don't think it's going to be snowing during the game. I don't think, but I mean, it's cold, right? And it's harder for guys to catch the ball. So I think in non-PPR, in a standard format, I'm going Foreman.
Yeah.
Because he's the most likely to score a touchdown. Followed probably by Sutton, then Olave. Just given the format.
Yeah.
I still think Sutton could score a touchdown. I don't think that's unlikely today. But yeah, I think Deonta Foreman is probably the safest bet in a non-PPR situation.
Yeah, no, I'm with you in terms of, and these are a lot of these wide receivers are guys who really thrive on the targets.
Yeah.
I mean, that's part of the reason why I love some of these guys. Like Pittman gets 8, 9, he gets lots of targets. I mean, lots of receptions, not even the targets. He gets tons of targets as well, but he gets lots of receptions. So these guys, I really love in PPR. But if I have to, pick a guy in non-PPR, which again, it's not my favorite thing to do. But if I'm playing in it, I'm just going to go with the dog and Foreman and expect a touchdown. You know what I mean?
Yep.
Aiden said, thanks, man. Now they're saying he was nauseous and on an IV. Jordan flu game mentality going to carry me to a dub.
Yep. And the good news is, like I said, you don't need him to perform like Jordan did in the flu game because it's the Broncos.
Yeah.
And look, the Broncos could surprise us, but worst case, I still think Patrick Mahomes throws for 202.
Yeah.
even in this bad situation.
Yeah.
So.
Mike Norris said, "Gonna grab a coffee before kickoff. Good luck with the lineups, everybody." You too, Mike. He said, "I'd say Seahawks because they are dominant versus the run, and Browns love running. Browns love running. Sounds weird. Good luck, everyone. LOL." Thank you, Mike, for watching. Thanks for chopping up in the conversation with us. Thank you for not just the questions, but again, being a part of the conversation. We really appreciate it. Dr. Clutch said Seahawks D versus Cleveland or Philly D versus Washington. This is what Mike Norris was referring to. He said, "I got Seahawks in right now because I feel like I shouldn't start a defense going against my quarterback." Yeah, that does suck when you do that.
Yeah, that's tough. I mean, I don't think I think Philly's D, because look, you're also starting the special teams, right? So like keep that in mind. I think Seahawks are probably not as good of a special teams as Philly. So I think that is probably how I would make that decision. And like we said, Sam Howell played really well against Philly the first time, but 1 pick 6, or Antonio Gibson loves to fumble the ball. So you get 1 fumble from Antonio Gibson that's recovered by Philly, and you're sitting pretty. So
I still get it. Like, if he started Howell though, like I get it. Like you don't want to lose points versus your quarterback. Seahawks do play Cleveland. Right?
And PJ Walker's starting.
Yeah.
Ford's banged up.
Yeah. So I'm not mad at that.
Seahawks I would probably go Seahawks defense in this
to avoid the
Cleveland defense, or the Cleveland offense looks lost right now. So
Cole Parr said, "Good luck, everyone." Shout out to you as well, Cole. Thanks for hanging out with us the whole episode. Good luck to you. Come back next week, guys. Let us know how you guys did. Don't forget that. Pancake says, "Should I consider Henderson?" in that question that he asked earlier.
Yeah. Yes, I mean you should consider it. The only reason I go D'Onta Foreman over Henderson is most likely guaranteed work. Henderson, I know they did the practice squad thing just because he's, he just got signed to the team.
Yeah.
Henderson looked great last week. I don't think there's going to be any issues if you play him. The Rams are playing who again this week? They're playing the Cowboys. So the Cowboys do have a good front seven. So that is something to keep in mind. I think it's more likely that we get a Cooper Kupp Puka game than we get a Darrell Henderson game against the Cowboys. So that's part of the reason I would go with Foreman over Henderson.
Yeah. Yeah, I'm not a Henderson guy, so I definitely wouldn't consider him. Dr. Clutch, need wide receiver 2, Pickens, Higgins, D-Hop, or Downs. Got Addison in my other wide receiver spot. Nice group of wide receivers there, man.
Yeah, that's nice, man.
I like Addison in the wide receiver spot, so I definitely would have started him for sure. I
still think you go T. Higgins. Look, I understand it hasn't been a great ride so far, but it's T. Higgins.
And against San Fran?
Yeah, because they're healthy. They're coming out of the bye healthy. So if you have T. Higgins, Jamar Chase, you've got Tyler Boyd, you've got a healthy Joe Mixon, and if Burrow is right now, they can beat the Niners. I'm not saying they will, but I'm saying they can put up a good fight against that 49ers defense. So I'm still going to go with Higgins because who do you double cover? Do you double cover Higgins? Do you double cover Jamar Chase? Someone's going to be open.
Yeah, no, I understand the Higgins idea. I'm going to go with Downs. I'm going to get crazy, man. I'm going with the hot hand, right? Like Higgins has had like 4 fantasy points. I want to say like the last 3 weeks. He had the bye week. I understand that, but he's dealing with he's got a lot going on.
I like guys coming out of the bye. I have faith in guys. That is usually a get right game for guys like T. Higgins. And again, narrative-y, but I think that could be a good storyline to keep an eye on today.
Yeah, definitely an interesting one. Pancake said ETN against Philly this week. He's not against Philly though. He's playing Pittsburgh.
Yeah.
Pancake,
so
you may be confused, my friend, or you might have typed that in wrong. Maybe you meant Pitt. Both start with P's. Maybe a little confused when you type that in, but yeah.
I mean, ETN against Philly this week or against Steelers this week. Fire him up.
Yeah, definitely a good play regardless who he's playing. Yeah. All right, man. It's almost 12:45. We answered all the questions we could here. I don't see any other questions sitting in the comments anywhere. I checked everywhere. I checked on the YouTube just to make sure there's nothing, floating around in the ether that we missed. Everything looks like we've answered all the questions we could. Yeah, he did. Pancake said, "Oops, I'm in Pitt." We figured you did, man.
We knew. Baby.
We know what's going on, man. You're here with us every week. We know what's up. So that is it for today. Guys, we appreciate you for joining us. Of course, subscribe to the channel, like this video if you haven't already done that. Follow us at Rival Fantasy on all the different social platforms. If you have other questions throughout the week or you want to just talk to us while we're not on the live, do that. And of course, go to rivalfantasy.com or download the Rival Fantasy Sports app. Sign up, create an account, use the link in our description to get up to $200 deposit match plus $25 free voucher. Brian, before we go, do you have any other last words?
Oh man, good luck to everybody this week. Come back next week. Let us know how you did. And remember, Frankfurt games are starting next week. So 2 weeks of overseas games again. So set your lineups early next week.
And I might even go live again, or I might start going live in the middle of the week also, not just on Sunday, guys. So let me know if you want more of that. Just let me know. Again, add us, put in the comments. If you want to chop it up with us more, we will do that. Pancake, no problem, man. Thank you. Thank you. Not thank us. Thank you. We appreciate you for joining us. We are out. That is it.